If you study rural life before central heating, one thing becomes clear very quickly. People did not tolerate waking up cold. Farmers, labourers, and working families depended on uninterrupted rest to survive long days of physical work, especially in winter. Cold sleep meant slower mornings, weaker bodies, and higher risk of illness or injury. What they developed instead was a layered, system-based approach to nighttime warmth that worked reliably for centuries. If you're serious about history, resilience, or winter preparedness, this knowledge still matters today. Before we get into it, make sure you're subscribed to Warfield Prepper Chronicles and give this video a like. This channel exists to preserve practical knowledge that modern comfort has made easy to forget. Now, let's get straight to it. Beds were treated as heat retention systems, not furniture. For farming families, the bed was not just a place to lie down. It was a carefully managed thermal environment. Mattresses were thick and dense, often stuffed with straw, chaff, wool or feathers, materials chosen specifically for their insulating properties. Thin bedding was avoided because it allowed body heat to escape downward into the floor. In colder regions, beds were raised higher off the ground to avoid cold air pooling near the floor. Today, this principle still applies. If you sleep on a thin mattress or directly on a cold surface, you lose heat all night, no matter how many blankets you pile on top. Adding insulation beneath you, such as wool pads, thick quilts, or even layered blankets under the sheet, immediately improves warmth without raising room temperature. Layered bedding followed strict order and purpose. Working families did not throw random blankets on a bed. Layers were intentional. The bottom layers trapped heat, the middle layers stored it, and the top layers blocked airflow. Wool was prized because it retained warmth even when damp and allowed moisture from the body to escape without chilling the sleeper. Heavy quilts were placed above wool layers to stabilize temperature through the night. Lightweight covers were avoided in winter because they shifted too easily and allowed drafts. For modern use, the lesson is simple. Use fewer, heavier layers instead of many light ones. Wool blankets, thick duvets, and tightly tucked top layers prevent heat loss far better than synthetic throws that slide and gap while you sleep. Night clothing was part of the heating strategy. Farmers did not sleep in bare skin during winter. Nightshirts, wool socks, and sometimes soft caps were worn deliberately. The goal was not overheating, but maintaining a stable core temperature. Extremities were protected because cold feet or ears trigger heat loss throughout the body. Clothing was loose to allow circulation and dry to prevent chilling. Applying this today is straightforward. Sleeping in breathable thermal layers, especially natural fibres like wool or cotton, reduces the need for excessive blankets. Cold feet remain one of the most common causes of restless winter sleep, and a simple pair of wool socks often solves the problem better than turning up the heat. Bed warming was done before sleep, not during the night. One of the most effective techniques used by working families was pre-warming the bed. Hot bricks, heated stones, metal bed warmers, or wrap bottles of hot water were placed between the covers before bedtime, then removed or shifted once the bed was warm. This eliminated the initial cold shock that causes the body to burn energy trying to warm itself. The principle still works, you know. Pre-warming your bed with hot water bottles or modern heat packs allows you to fall asleep faster and stay warm longer without running heaters all night. Draft control mattered more than room temperature. Farmhouses were cold by modern standards, but beds were protected from moving air. Beds were often placed away from windows and doors. Heavy curtains, bed hangings, or even simple fabric screens were used to block drafts. The goal was to stop airflow, not heat the entire room. This is one of the most overlooked lessons today. Even a warm room feels cold if air is moving across the bed. Blocking drafts with curtains, door seals, or repositioning the bed can dramatically improve warmth without increasing energy use. Shared warmth was normal and practical. It was common for families to share beds, not out of sentimentality, but efficiency. Body heat was a valuable resource. Couples, siblings, and sometimes children slept together during winter months. Even animals were sometimes housed below sleeping areas to provide rising warmth. While modern households may not share beds the same way, the principle of shared heat remains relevant. Sleeping closer together, using smaller sleeping spaces, or even using enclosed bed setups helps retain warmth far more effectively than heating large rooms. Evening routines were designed to support warm sleep. Farmers did not go to bed cold. Evening meals were warm and filling, often including fats that provided slow-burning energy through the night. Physical activity earlier in the evening helped raise body temperature before rest. Cold exposure right before bed was avoided. Today, eating a warm meal, avoiding cold showers late at night, and staying active earlier in the evening all contribute to better winter sleep without relying on artificial heat. Moisture management prevented nighttime chill. Dampness was the enemy of warmth. Bedding was aired regularly, even in winter, to remove moisture build-up. Wet clothing was never worn to bed. Wool was favoured because it stayed warm even when slightly damp. In modern homes, moisture still causes nighttime cold. Overheated rooms with poor ventilation create condensation that chills the body. Using breathable bedding and keeping humidity balanced prevents that clammy cold feeling that wakes people up at night. Bedrooms were smaller on purpose. Working families slept in compact rooms with low ceilings. Large open spaces were harder to keep warm and allowed heat to dissipate. Smaller rooms retained body heat more effectively. This concept is highly relevant today. Heating a smaller sleeping area, closing off unused rooms, or even using room dividers can significantly improve nighttime warmth during winter. These methods worked because they respected human biology. What ties all of this together is respect for how the body produces and retains heat. Farmers didn't fight the cold with brute force. They worked with insulation, airflow control, moisture management, and routine. These are principles that still outperform modern shortcuts when applied correctly. If you're dealing with winter cold, rising energy costs, or unreliable heating, these methods are not nostalgia. They are proven survival knowledge. If you found this guide useful, subscribe to Warfield Prepper Chronicles and share this video with someone who takes winter preparedness seriously. This channel exists to preserve hard-earned knowledge that still works when modern systems fail. Stay warm, stay prepared, and we'll see you in the next one.